getting it? All right, quiet, please.
Shh. Quiet.
You better let Riley get upstairs. This is just a hit-in slate, fellas, not the show. Skelton, R8.14, A Christmas Story, 1777, take one.
Skelton Christmas Hour, with Red's special guest stars, Senator Everett M. Dirksen and Mrs. Skelton.
Why, Mrs. Skelton.
Willie Lump Lump.
Here. I brought a little present for Mrs. Skelton. It's my favorite brand. Panther Breath, it's called. You'll love it. It's good. It's my favorite brand.
Willie, that's empty.
It is? See? It was full when I left home. It's probably that Santa Claus down on the corner. I've never trusted anybody that stands on the corner ringing bells. That little bloodshot blimp, that Mr. 5x5. I go down and fix him right away. Well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Willie, and Happy New Year to you.
All right. Night, night. My big feet. Of course, my father had real big feet. He had to put his pants on over his head.
Hello, Clem.
Why, Mrs. Skelton, how are you? Say, I just brought you something from the South. It's a Christmas you-all law.
Oh, that's wonderful of you, Clem. Thank you.
Yes.
Red has mailed your present to you.
He mailed it?
Yes.
Mailed it?
Yes.
Well, bubble gum again this year. Well, you know.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. You're pretty for a girl. Merry Christmas. Howdy, sir. Merry Christmas.
What was that? The cat drug in and refused to bear it.
Why, hello, Dad.
Well, howdy, Mrs. Skelton. Here.
Where'd you get that ravishing fur?
Isn't that something? I trapped that under my sink, ma'am. Here, I brought a little present for Red there. Remember the old saying, it's better to give than to receive. I don't know who said it. I think it was the Internal Revenue.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas to you.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Good night now.
Good night, Dad.
Good night. Spurs.
Why, Freddie, the freeloader.
Why, Mrs. Skelton, how are you? Here, I have a little something for Red. I hear that people around here are filthy rich.
Thank you, Freddie.
So here, I brought you a cake of soap.
Well, thank you.
It's not much.
I know, but it's the thought that counts, right?
Yes. Well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Freddie.
Thank you. Good night now.
Good night, Freddie.
Oh, that's the way to have the Christmas spirit. You have something you don't need, share it with someone else.
This portion.
Well, now what can this be? It's wrapped so beautifully, I hate to open it. I really shouldn't open this until after midnight. But I want to go to bed early to build up energy for the early hours, when my grandchildren will be coming into my room on their pogo sticks. Slippers. Beautiful slippers. Now, who do you think of my college wants me to retire? They're very comfortable, and I must thank them for their kindness and generosity and the knowledge that they think my feet hurt. Well, Christmas affords such a wonderful opportunity to be thoughtful and considerate of other people, and then it still leaves you time to be otherwise. It's a pity that this wonderful holiday doesn't come more often, bringing with it the love, the peace, and the moments to reflect and remember the friends you love. Santa Claus is a wonderful symbol for this festive season. I guess at some time, every father has played old Saint Nick to keep the tradition alive for his children. Red Skelton goes to great and hilarious lengths now to say, yes, there is a Santa Claus. Of course, there may be some of you who don't believe in Santa Claus. That's a pity. I do. joyful song. Deck the halls. Isn't it wonderful that all that has happened in this whole world of ours, that there are songs at Christmas that we've sung through all the years? Their familiarity brings a warm feeling to the holiday. And there is a poem that we learned in our childhood and we repeat each season. It gives us a happy lift. It was written back in December 1823 by Clement Moore. And as you well know, it's a visit from St. Nicholas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for our long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang out of my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen. On Comet, on Cupid, on Donder, on Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas, too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in furs from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his sack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it had circled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, and then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team, gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight. Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Have you ever seen a sugar plum fairy? If you have, and you're an adult, I suggest you don't report it. But children see them all the time, and I heartily recommend that you look in with them as the lovely prima Ballerina Jiliana and the Tom Hansen dancers present the Christmas Waltz. It's good to be home at Christmas. Families gather together. Friends and relatives join to renew acquaintance and to absorb the love and companionship that refreshes the spirit and renews the hopes. But there are those whose duties take them away from the glow of the hearth and set them down in strange places where Christmas is sadly just another day. Here is a story about some brave men whose sacrifices so many years ago enables us to enjoy this holiday tonight. Red Skelton presents A Christmas Story, 1777. A place called Valley Forge stands out in the memory of all Americans. The cry and groans of a mother nation about to give birth to a baby, and it shall be named Liberty. December 21st, 1777. The day is bitter cold, and it presses down on the snow-covered meadow once called wilderness, the home of Indians, deer, wildflowers, and now referred to as battlefields, and someday to be called farmland. Men with mechanized thoughts plan destruction and fragments of the word catastrophe belch from cannon's mouth. Now the night comes. Its bluish light spreads across the snow with a satin sheen. It brings a stillness that echoes the slightest sound, the creaking of tree stumps, charred black and splintered.
When you look at this place at night, it seems such a small battlefield.
Well, how much room does a soldier need to die in?
Bread. Bread, how about some meat?
It's in the bread. The weevils. The weevils.
Valley Forge, where age is made. Young bodies with old faces. Not much wisdom needed. For how much wisdom does a man need to stay alive?
Hey, is the sun gonna come up or is it frozen too?
All right. Keep marching. You're on sentry duty.
Well, what are we guarding? A few men too weak from hunger and cold to fight? I'm gonna tell you, General Washington finds places that God forgot.
Oh, it's a wonder there hasn't been a mutiny. 2,500 men have died in the last month.
Without costing the British one bullet. Starvation's a deadly weapon, you know.
And yet the men obey.
Yeah. They desert, but they come back.
I wonder why.
Well, maybe they've got a cause.
I wouldn't mind so much, but I hear there's much graft. Money for our food is going to the wrong people. They get rich on our deaths.
And then there's the British. I'll wager General Howe sleeps in a warm bed every night.
Well, let's hope that it gets blown from under him.
Prisoners! Halt! Prisoners!
Prisoners or deserted?
What's the difference? It's that many more that the British don't have to feed. It's all part of their plan.
The enemy. How did they get out of school to come here and fight? A note from their parents? 3,000 miles from home to kill rebel Americans. But instead they find their enemy is the cold, the hunger.
Come on. You say you were in Philadelphia?
You would not believe the food in the shops. People live as though this wasn't their war.
Well, do they know we starve here?
Oh, yes. But the war is not popular with everybody.
Fighting for freedom's not popular?
There are young men on the streets who make speeches of protest.
If those agitators put self before freedom, before liberty, let them come on this battle line. Let both sides fire at them.
Yeah, you know, it's strange. Why does a man who speaks as a traitor believe that the other side will trust him?
So it is our lot to do the fighting, even for those who, in their fright, undermine us. Perhaps we who fight will appreciate liberty a little more.
Ah. What is liberty?
Liberty? Liberty's tomorrow.
Well, I will go and see if there's a ration of bread for me.
Yeah, you seem to look pretty good. How's your health?
If I were alive, I'd be a very sick man.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, as well as can be expected. That's if death don't expect too much.
How? How can you still joke?
When I'm melancholy, I don't notice gloom. That's if I face it cheerfully.
Here. It's Christmas.
Oh, it's my wife.
Oh.
Now let me guess what's inside. A hind quarter of beef? A warm bed?
Darling Patrick, we miss you here at home. And as Christmas approaches, our joy grows less, for now we realize you won't be with us. I have heard that it is very cold at Valley Forge, so I have knitted you a muffler. I made it with blue yarn. I know you like bright colors, but I was afraid that if I used red, you might be mistaken for a red coat. It isn't much, but I do not have enough yarn to make you a vest, and I'm not skilled enough to make you leather boots, which I hear there is a desperate need of. Dearest Patrick, we speak of you and think of you every day and every night, and perhaps our warm thoughts will keep you out of the cold. Be safe, and may God bring you back to us very soon. Your loving wife,
Edith.
The War of Independence rages on, some men fighting and dying, others to live and join remnants of the Continental Army and meet death by cold and hunger. Besides the Schuylkill, only 20 miles from Philadelphia. December 24th, 1777. It is almost Christmas. These are gallant men at Valley Forge. It is a sickly place. Men and horses die from starvation. The eyes of men half alive blur with tears. The night is bitter cold. But that isn't what makes men cry. Men make men cry. Leaders of men cry too. The spirit of liberty makes men cry. The real heroes are dead. But those who still live are learning to be heroes. But do they live? Or are they ghosts of the dead soldiers? The only sign of life is the blood left in the snow where once their bare feet stood. Laughter in a place like this. Yes, laughter born strangely of sadness of spirit. And even singing is here.
No meat, no meat, no rye, no wheat, no breeches, no seat, no boot tops, no feet. Courage, yes, no defeat. No army, no fleet, no food, no meat. Dear Jesus, so sweet, no bed, no meat. The enemy we'll beat, God's will be. Hunger now means liberty. No meat, no meat.
December the 25th, 1777. This night, we're with Potter's Brigade of the Pennsylvania Militia. We had 12 skirmishes with the Redcoats. Their losses were considerable. Ours weren't too bad. They killed several men who've been dying for months. Christmas is 1 hour old, a day of peace. It's peaceful here at Valley Forge, only disturbed by the groans of the wounded. We made our way back with our loyal companions. Fatigue, thirst. I'm to bunk with 3 other soldiers. They're strangers. One fellow rests his head on the palm of his hand. He looks like the death skull in Hamlet. The other 2 are as rigid as the winter. Outside, men are huddled around their little fire as though to keep it warm. And I'm hungry, so thirsty. I'm desperate. There's no water. My canteen is empty. There's water nearby in the stream, but it's frozen, solid ice, 6 inches thick. I could blast a hole in the ice with a heavy load. But that one shot would start a bombardment. But what of it? They'd only be firing at invisible soldiers. I'm thirsty.
Don't. Too much sickness. You'd be dead.
But I won't be thirsty.
The only clear water is out there, in the stream. Under the ice.
I could build a fire on the ice and burn a hole through.
Impossible. The enemy's got it covered.
Water. I've got to have... Look, stranger. Look. Here. That's yours. It's yours. My wife knitted it for me. You can have it. 5 swallows of water. 4. 3.
I'm ashamed. But it's Christmas. A man should not go thirsty or hungry on Christmas. Christmas. We've got to celebrate Christmas.
Hey, where you going? That little fir tree. I've got to go get that little Christmas tree.
Why don't you give him a drink of water?
You should see them. There's light in their eyes for the first time. I feel a rejoicing. My heart overflows with gratitude and hope. I gaze tenderly at the little tree. It beholds his divine grace. A boy, aged in these woods, learning life's end before the beginning. He should be at a Christmas dance, not walking around barefooted through the ice and snow, bleeding his blood to feed next spring's flowers.
At least he saw the tree of the Christ child before he walked into the valley of death. He will fear no evil, nor cold. That shadow has wrapped his starved body with a warm royal robe that makes all men equal.
Maybe we're all dead. Grim Reaper's ignorant about details. A job like this is too big for him. He forgets to close our eyes and to push us over.
But this boy is not special. He has no priority on the last breath. Why give cause to be sad because he's another soldier?
We should be in a house of worship. There is no house to go to sit down and listen to God's instructions.
But does there have to be an assembly? Does hearing certain words constitute worship? Does it come only from the ordained?
I have made an altar. I've put candles on it. Have I profaned the spirit of Christmas? Is what I've done mockery? No. Many Christmases ago, a stable was made into a holy place. Why not a shed? Yeah, the shed has become a temple.
The spirit of Christmas, surrounded by misery, death, starvation, and destruction, but alive. Is it beauty and comfort that need Christmas? Perhaps next year, you men of Valley Forge, perhaps next year you will see the beauty of a light on a Christmas tree in your own home, or burn a candle for your loved ones, and another for the peace of the world. But for now, your Christmas is here in this crude shed. But be not ashamed. The words of the Bible say, wherever 2 or 3 gather together in his name, our Lord has told us he is in the midst of them. I've enjoyed spending this Christmas Eve with you. I want nothing more, except perhaps the usual orange and a handful of walnuts in my Christmas stocking.
Hello, Senator Dirksen.
Well, hello, Red.
Senator, I have a little gift for you here. Maybe I can give it to you now.
Oh, Red, you shouldn't have done it.
Oh, here you are, Senator.
Well, that was quite a toss.
Nothing to it. Going east, there's always a tailwind.
And Red, I thank you. Well, slippers. Red, this is very generous of you, and they're just what I needed. You see, that's the Christmas spirit. Accepting something graciously that you don't need, or that you don't want, and I don't think they're half as nice as the other pair anyway.
Well, good night, Senator Dirksen.
Good night, Red, and Merry Christmas.
Good night, Senator. Merry Christmas to you. Oh, and by the way, I sent the other slippers, too.
Well, thank you, and good night, all. Merry Christmas, and may the new year bring peace on earth and goodwill to all men.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing us to share this Christmas Eve with you. Our sponsors and staff join me in wishing each and every one of you the happiest and merriest of Christmases. Good night, and may God bless.
Wait a minute. And then pasta. Folks, there's no substitute for the real thing, including the world's favorite cereal, Kellogg's Cornflakes. Extra crisp, extra fresh, extra good tasting. And why not? They're made to my personal specification. So next time you're shopping, get the genuine article, Kellogg's Cornflakes.
Oh, love your dress, Elaine. Isn't it nice they're finally putting some style into larger sizes?
Time to get back into things? Eat smart at every meal, starting with breakfast. Kellogg's Special K breakfast is only 240 calories, 99% fat-free. And delicious Special K is loaded with protein. Let the Special K breakfast help you get back into things.
Elaine, you look marvelous in that suit. Let's go, Tom. Tom!
Christmas comes once every year, when snowflakes and laughter appear. Church bells are ringing to say the Savior was born on this day. Christmas is filled with the sound of peace and goodwill all around. But when the season is gone, why can't this great feeling go on? The world is a wonderful place, a gift for the whole human race.
Give thanks to the Lord up above by living his lessons of love.
That's when the church bells will ring, in fall, winter, summer, and spring. Open your hearts and you'll hear it's Christmas each day of the year.